Okay, since the last time we spoke and this time, Sid, you know we needed a new a new starter. We got a starter. I went ahead and bought an alternator. A carburetor rebuild kit. And the starter, we got it filled with water. What my attempts are today are going to be to actually run the engine, heat it up, and find out if we've got like maybe a cracked head gasket, maybe we've got a problem with the radiator, maybe it won't hold pressure. So today's going to be an operational test. We know the engine runs. Now the idea is it going to run for any prolonged period of time before you have a problem with it, i.e. running hot, oil in the water, so forth. So I'm going to leave the camera running, and it might be a little bit noisy. I don't know if there's a way for me to track the volume down. But let's get started. Alternator appears to be putting out. Engine shut down. We're looking at around 11.8 volts on the alternator. Alright, I'm showing 1310 on the battery. It appears that we got a bad alternator, so the alternator is probably going to have to be replaced. Could be a wire, so I'll double check the wiring. But worst case scenario, we have to have another alternator. Battery cap appears to be bad. I'm sorry, radiator cap. This radiator cap is supposed to hold 16 psi pressure to keep us from boiling over the engine. Right after starting, it was blowing water off, so that tells me it's not holding any pressure, so we gotta have a new radiator cap. Get all this stuff written down. The other problem appears that the voltage regulator has been disconnected. That's what's used to regulate voltage back to your battery so you don't burn it up. But because the alternator doesn't work, we don't have to worry about it overcharging our battery.
Yeah. And
none of the gauges monitoring the engine, i.e. alternator or a battery discharge charge, oil pressure, water temperature. None work. I would recommend buying an aftermarket. It's a little small 3-panel gauge and have it installed on the dashboard. Fuel pump works. Carburetor works, but I do have a rebuild kit, so we will put the rebuild kit in the carburetor. I think the water from the radiator is splashing my camera. It is, but it doesn't appear that it's causing too many problems as far as not being able to see what we're doing, so we'll leave it running. The engine is getting up to temperature. The engine is hitting on all 6 cylinders. Sitting for the last, 18 million years. Viscosity is about a weight of 10. So, layman's terms, oil's in pretty good shape for being so old, which will still need to be changed, rebuilt. But that won't stop us running the motor. The motor's running good. I am going to try and depress the clutch. And once I depress the clutch, I'm going to drop it here and see where we stand with our transmission. try to drop it in gear. All 4 gear transmission is responding. There is pressure being put on the pressure plate, but it does sound like it's rubbing, so that would mean that the pressure plate is wore out. That's what you probably would find when you ride the clutch. People that ride the clutch too long, they end up burning their pressure plate up, and then they have to repair it. So right now I see new alternator, braces will have to be done. Engine seems to be heating up fine. I'm going to check it for compression after we're finished. Carburetor needs to be rebuilt. Tires, we'll need you to get on top of the tires as soon as possible. I'll go ahead and strip them down, but we need to get new tires for the front replaced so that when I'm ready to let it roll, so I can check the transmission, that won't be an obstacle. So far it looks like everything's running pretty good. Looks like you got a pretty good engine on your hands. Alright, you noticed on that trial of trying to start the engine, it didn't want to start. Well, I noticed the choke was closed. That would have kept it from starting, so that needed to be open. But that could also show that we may have a problem with the fuel pump. Right now I'm not running off the gas tank. I am running from a fuel tank that I have back here in the back. I have it connected to the inlet side of the fuel pump so that I could check to make sure the fuel pump was working. So we're pumping fuel from the gas tank into the fuel pump into the carburetor. The engine is hot. It's not overheating. It's not blowing off water. I would say we need to replace the radiator cap. I've already bought a thermostat, so we'll replace the thermostat because that's something you don't want to leave in after it's been sitting for a long period of time. So for you and for what I see right now, we need the tires done. We need to get these tires replaced. I'll get them jerked off. I need to do an oil change. I need to change the oil in the engine. I also need to drain the oil in the 90 weight oil out of the standard drive transmission and replace that. I'd also like to see us get a set of gauges. The three gauges that come in a set is your voltage, your oil pressure, and your water temperature. I think they run about $20. I'll wait until we communicate again to see how far you want to go with it after that. Basically, it's running. If it wasn't blocked up and these tires weren't flat, I might have put it in gear to see if I could go somewhere with it. All right, Sid, I think you should be happy with what you got.